What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of Huskers Live. And we are here to break down last week and get into, what could be a good couple weeks or a bad couple weeks coming up over the after the bye week here. But we do got a good week of preparation coming up to face a pretty tough Penn State team. So we're going to dive into that. Also, maybe talk a little bit about Emmett Johnson's Heisman push. Talked about that a little bit before, but now all of a sudden seems like he might be in the conversation there. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. And if you are new here, please drop a like, subscribe, let us know what you think in the comments, drop your thoughts, and then we will dive into your comments as we go through the show. Brian, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Doing fantastic. I'm a little distracted right now because
Me too. My door's open to my office and it's driving me nuts because I don't know who opened it.
the Chihuahua just settled. So the Chihuahua that postponed or that was part of postponing the post game show, she just settled down next to my German Shepherd. So we just rescued her last Thursday. So she still figured out how to settle in. I had to drive from work. I trained my last client, had to drive 30 minutes to pick her up from work from my wife, and then got here. I had to walk 3 of the dogs. Never walked 3 of them before. So I have a German Shepherd, half Husky, half Shepherd, and now a Chihuahua. I lost my Chihuahua back in March. And so walking 2 dogs who are used to being walked and then 1 dog who isn't was very interesting.
Especially 2 bigger dogs and 1 smaller dog.
Bro, that was
it's an interesting dynamic.
Her little legs were just pumping, but she's just kind of chilling out next to my German Shepherd Gunner now. So hanging out next to her big brother. So hopefully that means she's not going to tear into anything during the show. But let's hope. Yeah. Let's go Big Red. We got a howdy fellas and all. Go Big Red. Go Big Red. I was going to say Nick. I don't even actually know what the end means. So in Schluter. All right. Well, let's go ahead and Brian, if you will, first off, let's go ahead and start about something we talked about last week and the rightful Heisman push here. It is Nick. Okay. I was right. I don't know why. I always thought like Nick whenever I saw in. So I keep wanting to say Nick, but now I know I can say it. All right. The rightful, go ahead and we'll pull that up. Rightful Heisman push of Emmett Johnson on X lately. Boy, is that a beautiful sight to see.
Well, I don't think he'll win it because I think Nebraska probably needed to win 10 games and him to have the season he's having to be considered. But should he be in New York is the question, I think.
Yeah, we kind of talked about, if Nebraska was undefeated right now, would he be in the Heisman conversation? 100%. We talked about that on the post game. And without a doubt, rightfully so. He's getting a push by Husker Nation. And yeah, it's one of those things that's, I saw something earlier, again, just more comparisons to Amir Abdullah, which you have mentioned a few times. And yeah, by far one of the best running backs that we've had at this university and continues to be so. And, going to be a big part of the game plan going into Penn State and Iowa, which we are going to dive into in a little bit. And Penn State, which we talked about before, they played pretty good against Indiana. And we're going to be going into, I believe, senior day with against Penn State. So that's going to be a very interesting game. So, Brian, let me ask you this. What are some of the things that, coming off of, I don't know if you had a chance to rewatch a game, but coming off of last week, what are some of the things that you think that Nebraska needs to do to really be ready for Penn State's physicality, I guess? Because Penn State, regardless of coaching situation, whatever's going on there, that we've talked about this time and time again is a talented and a very deep team, especially on the defensive side of the ball, but in the trenches, they are, defensively, they've still been pretty good. I mean, they haven't been terrible this season, of course. Defensively, I'm going to talk about, they're a pretty good tackling team overall, but I just think they pose some potential issues for us in the trenches. So what are some of the things that you might think we have to do going into this bye week?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. So with their defense, they actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players with 2 or more sacks. So there's actually, I mean, 2's not a ton by any means, but there is a consistent presence on that defensive line and in their second level with the ability to get to the quarterback. Dennis Sutton, their defensive end, has 3 on the year, and Durant, their defensive tackle, has 3 on the year. That defensive line is going to be a huge problem for Nebraska, in my opinion. Now, I think Nebraska definitely has taken a step forward in recent weeks. Northwestern, they gave up 1 sack. USC, they gave up 1 sack, which was the sack that got Dylan hurt, which I think, it was more Dylan's fault, just for the sake of conversation. It looked like, to me, a quick RPO throw, and he held it, and that's why it was a sack.
Yeah, I agree.
But so you're talking about 2 sacks in the last 3 games. TJ Lateef was not really under much pressure against UCLA other than 1 or 2 throws, and he handled it very well. Their PFF scores, if you're into those things, their pass grades were, across the entire offensive line, were the best they've been. Their run grades were the best they have been in a long time. So can Nebraska keep this positive momentum with this offensive line, which, as hard as we've been on Coach Raiola, you have to give him some credit here, in my opinion, because Turner Corcoran, injury-riddled career.
Yeah.
Gets thrusted in at left tackle, gets thrusted in at left guard. He gets thrusted in at right tackle, swinging back and forth between games. And you know what? He's done a pretty darn good job at right tackle since Gunnar Gattulo went down. Elijah Pritchett, a lot of issues early, penalties, discipline issues, which, we saw. I can't remember which game it was where he got ejected. What game was that? Was it Minnesota? He got ejected?
Minnesota.
Yeah. And so the next week he was back, and it feels like that moment for him was a light bulb has gone on. He's progressing very well as we get towards this end of the season. And I think you're starting to see this offensive line start to mesh a little bit. So that's my biggest thing for us is, can we slow down their pass rush, which isn't great, but it's okay.
It's good. They excel kind of at getting to the quarterback and completing the sack. I believe they're at 2.8 sacks per game, which is pretty good. Their secondary, efficiency wise, isn't the best. I think they're 85th in pass efficiency on defense. So they have been vulnerable to big plays. So it's one of those things where I don't think that necessarily. I don't know if Nebraska is going to take a ton of risks. I really don't. I still don't think. I think we have the ability to stretch the field. I don't know if necessarily we're going to have to. With Penn State, what they did well against Indiana. Well, first off, if I'm not mistaken, Indiana got up in that game, right?
I think Indiana actually had to come back.
Oh, so I'm backwards.
Yeah, Indiana
that's what I meant.
Come back at the very end.
Penn State got but at halftime, what was the score at half?
Oh, I don't know, honestly.
Because I'm trying to recall if Penn State actually was up or behind in that game. I cannot remember off the top of my head, but I know that Indiana came back at the end of that game, because I remember Fernando Mendoza missed a wide open pass there where I thought he was kind of feeling the heat, and then all of a sudden they make this miraculous catch in the end zone.
I'm pulling up the box score
to win the game. Pull up the box score real quick, because if I remember the game flow correctly, pull that up for me. Just out of curiosity.
Everybody's stats. I don't want everybody's stats.
Yeah, and then TJ Lateef, what I think the biggest thing for him again is just going to be, but I do think this is the opportunity that they're going to have now. I think they can implement some things where we can stretch the field against them, because they have not been the best in terms of their overall pass efficiency defensively. And I think the biggest thing is just going to be a matter of Nebraska needs to really kind of come out and do a little bit better job. Last week, again, kind of got a little bit conservative. I think this week, as soon as they start setting those things up, kind of what we did with the short pass, dumping it off to the running back, dumping it off to EJ, Isaiah and those guys. I do think this is the week where we need to kind of at least show Iowa that we do have that deep ball in the repertoire. And so I think that is something that they're going to be invested in this week, is trying to set that up, because as we know, again, TJ Lateef has the arm to be able to make these throws. So I do think there's a potential that we're going to come out and just try to air it out a little bit deeper down the field and give him an opportunity to show that. And so that way Iowa can't, the way Iowa's been playing, man, you cannot come out and be predictable against them at all.
Yeah. Just to backtrack a little bit. So Indiana was up 17-7 at the half. They were up 20-10 at the end of the third.
That's what I thought.
Penn State took a lead with 6:27 remaining at 24-20. And then Indiana scored 36 seconds remaining.
That's what I thought, because I thought at some point I saw that Indiana was up, and then next thing I know, I checked on the game and Penn State has the lead and Indiana has the ball, and I was just completely confused on what was going on.
In a span of about one quarter in game time, Penn State went 14 points unanswered.
Yeah. So very, very, this game, for all intents and purposes, is going to be, I actually think, a really good setup game going into Iowa because of the physicality that we are going to face going into that game, though.
Yes.
But Nebraska with a chance for 8, potentially 9 wins, first time since 2016?
Yeah, that would have been Mike Riley right before his final year, actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
to me, I want to see Nebraska take some deep shots, just to, like you said, throw it on film that, hey, we can go deep. But this is a game where I think Nebraska can use or continue to use their running game to set up the pass game. And the reason I say that is because Penn State's rush defense is ranked 82nd nationally. They're giving up over 4 yards per carry. They're giving up 160 yards a game. It's not great. It's actually pretty bad. And I think Nebraska, with TJ and his mobility, can exploit that a little bit, where ideally those safeties start to kind of creep down, or maybe they allocate another defender, an extra defender into the box to stop that run game. And that hopefully gets you isolated with Dane Keed and Isaiah Hunter or Ja'Cory Barney outside. And you can use them to kind of stretch the field a little bit. I was looking through their secondary stats, and they have, I believe, I can pull it back up here in just a second, but I believe they've only forced 9 total turnovers this year on defense, actually, which isn't a lot.
Not at all.
Yeah. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 interceptions on the year and 3 fumble recoveries. So they're not like a heavy turnover defense. I'm sorry. They had 11 forced turnovers. So basically 1 per game.
So you said 6, and then 6 interceptions, and what? How many forced fumbles or fumble recoveries?
5. So it's 11 total.
11
so it's
total.
a little bit better than I thought, but it's not anything to be like, they're not this ball hawking defense, in my opinion.
Correct. Yeah, I think
a lot of that was too against the bad teams they played early.
Yeah, less of an opportunistic defense and more of a they're not opportunistic, more of a physical defense, which I think in a way could, again, they have explosive running backs at that's one of the things they do well.
Yes.
However, Grunkmeyer, who I don't have a lot, I have not watched a lot of his film, so I don't know kind of what. Do you have his stats up?
I will in just a second. I was looking at their game versus Indiana, so let me back up real quick.
Yeah, pull that up for me, because I'm curious to see. Because the thing about Penn State's backs is their backs, they do a mix of everything well, and so there could be a potential where that is the ability to open up, Grunkmeyer. They can just ride those running backs as far as if Nebraska doesn't find a way to kind of get physical at the point of attack and be able to drive some stuff, drive some stunts up the middle and just be able to shut them down. Like, we have to make a commitment to stopping their run game early and make them beat us with their arm, honestly.
Yeah, so Grunkmeyer is now, since he's come in for Drew Aller, is completing 65% of his passes, which is actually pretty solid. He is a true freshman too, if I'm not mistaken. And here's the thing, though.
Is he true freshman? Redshirt? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure.
But 2 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. He's also been sacked 7 times for negative 53 yards. He is indeed a true freshman.
True
so
freshman.
You can put him in some tough, or I'm sorry, redshirt freshman.
Oh, okay. I thought he was redshirt. Yeah.
But on the year, He's not a run threat at all. I mean, based
No.
on stats. So you're getting a very stationary QB, which should help. But like you mentioned, their running backs, Katron Allen and Singleton combined, they're at about 1,100 rushing yards. They're averaging about 4.5 yards per carry. They got almost 20 touchdowns between the two on the year. Very physical ground game. The difference here is Singleton is more of a third down back per se in their offense, or at least of the two, because he actually has 19 catches, 145 yards on the year, and Allen has 46 yards receiving on the year. But they both can do both. I just think Singleton's more of a threat, obviously, with the passing game.
Yeah,
but they're both phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. Now also, since we're on the week that we're on, where we got a little extra time, Iowa. How are you feeling overall about that game?
They're damn good, I think.
Iowa scares me because of how much they've been able to improve. And what are some of the reasons that you think they've been able to improve? Do you think it's kind of their typical, it's the Iowa way of, they kind of just over the course of the season, they have this style of football that they kind of wear, as other teams wear down, it seems like they just get stronger. It's just one of those things where it's like you want Nebraska to be that team that's also kind of improving as the season goes along, but we're not getting that same level of improvement necessarily that we would like to see, from a team like that. Because, I mean, they, for all intents and purposes, they gave Oregon all they could handle.
They should have won that game, too. If it wasn't for an absolute perfect throw by Dante Moore, who had not a great game by any stretch, but that one throw on the sideline, he put it in the only spot it could be. And so you have to give kudos to him for that. But I think part of it, too, is their quarterback, what's his name, Gronowski?
Yeah, Gronowski.
Not a great mobile quarterback, in my opinion, but mobile enough where you have to kind of respect his run game a little bit. He's their second leading rusher. He's averaging 4 yards per carry. He's got about 400 yards, just under 400 yards on the year, 12 rushing touchdowns. He actually leads them in rushing touchdowns, which is shocking to me. Their primary running back, Moulton, is okay, averaging 5 yards per carry, 500 yards on the year. But what I think, and I tweeted this out during the Oregon game, what you have to appreciate about Iowa is they know who they are. They're patient with their process. They don't change their process. They don't change what they're doing unless it's a blowout, which is very rare.
Yeah.
That they're getting, and they stick to it. They don't deviate at all. And so they're going to keep running and they're going to keep punting. And they know when that fourth quarter comes, they need a big play. Look what happened. Gronowski, whatever the hell his name is, had a beautiful 50 or so yard pass to the tight end down the middle of the field. And then he made another big throw later in that drive. And then on the 2-point or on the 4th and goal, they spread him out and they run a QB power to the right-hand side of the field. And that was my dog whining.
Okay. I was just, I was looking over at mine to make sure she was still laying there sleeping.
Yep. He's trapped in here. But that's what they do. They know who they are. And to me, as much as we hate them, you have to be able to take a step back as a fan and appreciate that they accomplish so much with far less talent, far less revenue share money or NIL money, and they win 9 games every year. But they're damn good at what they do.
It's what they're able to do, with their kind of style of run. They do a lot of motions as well, but like their O-line, fits or clean. They run a lot of counter. They run a lot of mid zone. Now Mark Gronowski, what he was able to do is, like you talked about, like he brings an element of a QB run that they haven't had in years past. So like that right there gives them kind of a red zone thing that they didn't have before. Red zone kind of a solution, if you will. Now, one of the things that, I think what is going to be something that Nebraska needs to do against both of these teams is what we did last week, and it's winning on first down. And that's something that when watching the game back, I saw us do a lot more than we have the rest of this season. I think that could be, again, we talked about this before with what TJ Lateef brought that, Dylan Raiola didn't. And I think that ability I think one of the biggest things that allowed Nebraska to win on first down was you have so much more of that variable with his legs. And again, like with that defense backing off a little bit, like you're almost guaranteed, it felt like, 2, 3, 4 yards on first down, no matter what, whether he's taking the first or second read and tucking and running, like you're almost guaranteed to at least move the chains forward. And I think that first down success is you have to, against two physical teams coming up like a Penn State and an Iowa, like you have to have that ability to get yards on first down. We can't afford to have incompletions. We can't afford to be 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10, just because that allows teams to pin their ears back a little bit. And when you have a team that is, able to get to the quarterback like Penn State has this year at times, again, I think TJ Lateef is going to provide a lot of issues for them, but at the same time, what he showed on film last week, they're going to be able to kind of game plan towards. And so we're going to have to see something a little bit different this week out of everybody. But again, you got to assume that Emmett Johnson's going to have a million touches this week as well.
Emmett Johnson's going to be Emmett Johnson. But this is like the beautiful thing about football is, UCLA doesn't know what TJ really can do.
Yeah.
And so they're a little bit maybe caught off guard, and they're adjusting during the game, and then you have to adjust to their adjustments. Now you've got a full game tape. Penn State's going to have a completely different game plan, and you have to then create a game plan that they're not going to be totally ready for. And then it's a constant chess match. And that's the beauty of this game. And the key here, outside of winning on first down, is what does Nebraska do differently or maybe more of against Penn State? And I think that's going to be the zone read. Personally, I think his threat on the outside, his speed, he's got quick bursts too. It's not like, think back to like a running back, maybe like Dedrick Mills or Divino Zigbo, where it takes them kind of a minute to get up and going. TJ is boom, and he's at full speed, full stride so quickly. He's very agile. I think they're going to use his legs a little bit more against Penn State, just because you have to keep them honest. But what I also like about this is it opens up first down. If you've consistently ran the ball and got 3 or 4 yards, later in the game, you're going to be able to play action off of that. And that's when you can maybe take a deep shot on first down, or maybe even just get a little quick intermediate throw. But winning on first down was the biggest difference for the UCLA game. I think our average third down was 2.3 yards to go.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah, that's because this season we've seen us in the games that we've struggled, and the drives that we struggled, especially a lot of 2nd and 3rd and longs. And I think another thing too is like we kind of saw him, not only go to Emmett, we saw him go to Danke a little bit more. But I think some of these concepts again, I think are going to work a lot more. And I think that his legs are going to again back some of that physicality off a little bit, because they're going to have no choice. And then if you come out, I think that's one of the main reasons why we came out early, with a run straight away, was to really kind of back off that aggression and allow. Let them see that, like, okay, we're not afraid to let this kid run. And then from there, that creates, again, a little extra space for your execution to be able to improve a little bit. The defensive line isn't going to get off the ball as aggressively. The second level, the linebackers, their eyes are going to be, again, in that play that I talked about where, they're guessing run versus pass. They step down to guard the run, the QB run, because then you have that inside handoff fake, and it kind of almost plays a zone read. Now you're going to have linebackers stepping down a little bit, trying to figure out what he's going to do. But then at the same time, you're going to have them stepping back a little bit at times because they're afraid he's going to run it out, roll out, and keep it. That element right there is going to be, I think, the biggest difference in this game. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think we have a higher percentage in these games with TJ as opposed to Dylan because of what he provides with the legs? Just throwing this out there, man. I'm not trying to get you tripped up here.
Okay.
I'm not trying to get you in trouble.
I do. And I love Dylan. Don't get me wrong. He's our quarterback come fall next year.
Yep.
But I think having a running quarterback in this day and age is vital to your programs and your offense's success.
Yeah.
Because to me, and it's no fault of Dylan, it's no fault of pocket passers that just aren't very athletic, but you're kind of statuesque back there. It allows defenders to pin their ears back because they know you're not mobile to roll out. With the exception of very few, they're not all like great athletes, but like a guy like, oh, you're gonna hate this example, but a guy like Mahomes is not overly athletic.
I know it was coming,
but he's mobile enough to get you out of the pocket. Even something like that is okay with me. But to me, Dylan is not mobile at all. He just looks uncomfortable, unnatural running it. So when you have that guy that can just take it and run, it opens up everything. It opens up the middle of the field. You get a linebacker stepping down because he's afraid of the run, then you throw a pass over the top of him. You saw it against UCLA. That middle of the field was a lot more open because those linebackers were dropping down thinking it was his own read. He's keeping, and then they throw the RPO right behind him or right over them.
Yeah. Now here, but here,
Jackson.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's a random.
And we're back.
That pops up like every time my camera cuts off. Also, I don't know why my camera cuts off. Now, here's my problem. Here's the thing that worries me. Is Knowles does kind of run a multiplicity of looks and schemes defensively, Penn State defensively. Now, rather than kind of just a straightforward, 4-2-5, that's their base, of course, but they do a lot of mixing that up, especially with their shells and stuff like that. That is where I'm worried that they might try to mix that up a lot against. Now, we also have an NFL, style and NFL experienced defensive back coach in John Butler that can kind of show some of those things in practice. But I feel like, they do have that more so than UCLA. I feel like they have the athletes and the flexibility to really be able to defend against the RPO a little bit better. And so, and I do think they have the ability to kind of win their one-on-ones and over, Penn State with their athletes, their linebackers or defensive backs, like they're asked to do a lot more and they're trusted to do a lot more. So it's going to be a lot more difficult to kind of stretch their zones, if you will, like we talked about in the post game. That's where I'm curious to see, where we kind of try to, I guess, change up the game plan a little bit, because they are going to really try to make his life hell by mixing up their shell coverages and mixing up, they're going to have the rolling coverages. UCLA, not as much, because I don't think they had the athletes to really get over and do that. I think a lot of times they had to be in position to where they needed to be because we were stretching them so thin in their zones. Like they didn't have time to recover and get back over, because a lot of times we were dictating what they did defensively and they weren't dictating, what they did defensively, if you will. I think Penn State might dictate a little bit more of what they do defensively, and it's going to be a little bit harder to throw them out of that.
What I also think is something we need to consider is getting to the line quicker. It felt like they were kind of like giving TJ some free reign to make some checks or some audibles, but it was probably a 2-play system. Like, hey, you're going to do, this play or can it to this play, and you'd see him can out of it and get to the second play. But I want them to try and get to the line of scrimmage with like 20 to 22 seconds, because that'll allow him to see the field, and then that'll allow the coaches in the headset to say, hey, are you seeing this cover 2? Look at this cover 2. It looks like they may be rolling into a cover 1 raw or whatever, right? It'll give them some extra time to coach him on the spot. We should probably get to that super chat.
Holy, the other Dave. 99, brother. You are the man. Yeah, pull that up. Pull that up.
Oh, my computer's being slow.
How dare
there we go.
Thank you for your service. I'd give you $100 super chat if my NU versus UCLA score hit. It was close enough. Let's win out. Man, I cannot thank you enough, brother. You
Thank
are
you,
the
Dave.
man, bro. We cannot tell you how much we appreciate you. Not only supporting the channel,
Wow.
calling in on Fridays, but yeah, bro. Even so much, like we say all the time, like one of the things I was thinking about the other day is, you know, I don't necessarily do this because of to push views,
Super
likes, or
chat.
anything like that. I do this because I love, you know, just talking Nebraska football. And you know, we try not to ask for money. We try not to ask for likes, subscribers, and all that, but like cannot tell you how much that means, man. So thank you so much, brother.
Thank you so much.
And you know, thank you for the you know, the thank you for my service thing. I never know how to respond to that. So I always say, I told somebody today, I was like, I never know how to respond to that. So you're welcome. No, I'm just like, no, but thank you so much again. We appreciate it. So much as a like of you helps us out so much, but you're the man, brother. Thank you as always. Yeah, we cannot thank you enough. Yeah, shout out Dave, bro. Dubs in the chat for Mr. Dave there, man. God, I'm not even used to seeing that little red super chat.
I saw it pop up while I was talking. I just glanced at it and I didn't know what it was, so I just kept talking. And then I looked again and I was like, "Holy shit,
man!" Yeah, Dave's the man. Can't thank you enough, brother. And yeah, we appreciate you as always, bro. And all right. So, anyway, sorry, what were you saying? Yeah, I kind of forgot what you're talking about too. Because I'm going to dive into a little bit. We're talking a little bit about Penn State's defense and the RPOs and stuff like that. But I was going to also dive into kind of Iowa's defense and what we can look forward to and what we're kind of up against with that too. If you had anything else on Penn State's defense.
I had one note. Yeah. So over the last handful of games, basically Oregon they're giving up 31 points per game on defense while only scoring 24. They've lost every game since Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that even though they almost beat Indiana, that was a very passionate game. The crowd was really into it. As a Nebraska fan, I hope we can get this as like an 11 a.m. kickoff on senior day. Maybe the crowd's a little late arriving or whatever. There's just not as much juice on 11 a.m. game. Your team's lost like 7 in a row. This might be a game where Nebraska can, I don't want to say take over, but they can, you know, take the crowd out of it, what crowd they do get. But it has been like a flex game, so we're not going to really know the announcement for like 10 days.
Yeah, that's the game. That's the tough part is not knowing. Yeah, because you know, I believe it's senior day, right?
Yeah, it's their senior day, so I'm guessing we'll probably maybe get a 2:30 kickoff, which wouldn't be terrible.
No, not at all. Beats the hell out of a night game because that would be a tough one.
You don't want a night game in Happy Valley, no matter how good or bad they are.
I don't care. Nope. And then offensively, again, they just been very inconsistent offensively since Drew Aller went down. Contrary to what everybody says, you know, Drew Aller is, you know, he was an excellent quarterback, and he was a guy who didn't make a lot of mistakes. So you got a you know, true freshman in there. It's a guy who you can force to make a mistake, especially with, again, hopefully John Butler, you know, comes out with some aggressive tendencies. But one thing that I do know is he does have the ability to, if you cannot run the ball, he can make your life hell with his schematics and stuff like that. So that's where I think Nebraska will have an advantage versus as opposed to Gronowski the following week. Because Gronowski he's no Nico, you know, with his legs, but he can move enough.
He's athletic enough
to cause some problems. Yep. He's athletic enough to cause some problems. So now
go
ahead.
I was going to say one more thing. Penn State's new quarterback averages like 4 or 5 yards per attempt or per completion, which is terrible.
Yeah.
He has
what is it?
He has 70 completions on the year, and I got to pull it back up because, I mean, it's crazy, actually. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It's bad, though. What was his name again? Their quarterback?
Gronkmeyer.
Okay, 64 completions for 562 yards at a 5.7 average.
Yeah.
So that tells me they don't trust him to throw downfield. They're giving him probably very quick throws, easy throws to make. I want to see Nebraska come in with a big physical line. You're looking at like Gabe Moore, RVP, Elijah Judy, and Cam Lenhart or Williams Nowani as your fourth one. And just go big up front
Yeah.
Get Dason on the edge. I mean, Marquise Watson Trent's had his issues, but he's very good in the run game. He fits very well. So I think he might have a big game, but force them to throw it. Let Sayer and Andrew go one-on-one. Their receivers are not very good. They were bad last year and they're worse this year. Their leading receiver has 300 yards receiving.
Yeah.
On the year.
That was one of
force them to throw it. But
I don't
think they would.
That was one of the things I didn't think Drew Aller got enough credit for last year was can you back out and come back in? I'm not going per usual. We'll dive into some of your comments in a second. We'll get back up through here. Let's see. Great day. What's up, Rashawn? Appreciate you hopping in here, sir. Let's see. Brian's back in here. We got Rashawn in here. Maybe we see a little bit of Makai this week. A little bit more Makai. But we'll definitely see him upcoming. But appreciate you hopping in here, Rashawn, as always, brother. Sorry, what were we saying, though? You were talking about
oh, yeah. I would like to Nebraska to just force him to throw it. Just let your corners go one-on-one all game. I don't care.
Yeah, and kind of what I was talking about last year with Drew Aller. One of the things that I don't think he didn't get enough credit for was the fact that he didn't really have any weapons to throw to. Like they were and didn't turn the ball over a ton. And so now I think that's been a big problem for them is you had a good quarterback who didn't have a lot of weapons, who was really able to kind of mask the fact that you didn't have a lot of weapons because he had, he was very efficient as a passer. He doesn't, one of the things that Drew Aller didn't do is turn the ball over a lot. And looking over time, a lot of people kind of hated on him. But, when I did my Big Ten show, again, I did a lot of looking at Drew Aller over the years, freshman, sophomore, junior. He improved dramatically, but one of the things he didn't do was he didn't throw the ball into danger a lot. And that's something that they are going to have to figure out how to do. And that's kind of what you're talking about. We're going to stack the box and force them to try to make those mistakes because we have guys now that we can play on an island and we've seen them do it time and time again. Again, I would like to see them do it a little bit more against UCLA this past week. But I think that is something that they're going to invest in, trying to really stack the box. Because if Penn State beats you with their run game, then so be it. It's one of those things that but if you let them, if you don't stack the box and you kind of try to, play off of them a little bit, you just have to come out there and sell out to stop the run. They don't have a running quarterback, so that's something we can do because they're not going to be able to back you off with that QB run. And so I think that's where Nebraska's advantage lies in this coming week is they're going to be able to be aggressive without having to worry about the legs of the QB.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you're going to be healthy. You'll get Dawson Merritt back and Dason McCullough.
Yeah, Dason will be back as well. Now let's moving over to Iowa's defense because I did want to kind of preview a little bit of Iowa's defense versus what TJ Lateef might have to see against them, because both teams, I believe both teams run, it looks like a 4-2-5. So I believe they both run kind of that. I mean, a lot of teams run the 5 defensive backs nowadays, just because, again, you add that 5th defensive back on the field. You sacrifice a little bit of the beef up front pause for a little bit more speed on the back end. So shut up. Damn it. So it's really designed to keep up with more of these spread offenses. But Iowa runs, a lot of that kind of match zone. And so we saw a lot of us, being able to test UCLA's zones, not only horizontally, but vertically, with our motions and with Lateef's legs. So I think one of the things, though, with the match coverage is they're really good at stopping and coming back into their run fit. So we're going to have to be very, very creative when it comes to, using his legs. Iowa's a team that really doesn't have to blitz a lot. They can use a lot of simulated pressures, but they just do a really good job of everybody on their defense does their job very well. And so it's hard to get them out of position. So they're going to make us fight for like every single yard that we get. They can rush for, they're going to be able to drop 7 into coverage. Whereas I think Penn State, on the other hand, I think they're going to have to get a little bit more creative And because, defensively, they're pretty good again, but I just think they rely a little bit more on their physicality more so. But I think with their ability to get to the quarterback, now they're going to have to stay at home a little bit more. But I think Iowa's going to present the tougher test when it comes to that, because of their ability to not only match, but everybody in defense again does their job very well. And so, do you think it's going to be very similar with kind of the RPOs and stuff like that, and more design runs against Iowa as well?
I do. I think this is a game where you don't want TJ dropping back a lot. They're starting 3 defensive linemen, have 14 sacks on the year. We still have 2 weeks until we play them.
Yeah.
That defensive line is going to be a problem because, like you said, when they can generate their own pass rush, that allows you to drop 7. That allows you to drop 8. And then when you're doing that, there's just not a lot of holes in the zone. Or if they're playing man, well, there'll be a man zone. There's just not a lot of areas. And one thing, as good as TJ looked, we haven't really seen him have to sit back there and pick apart a defense.
Yes.
And so that's what I'm looking for from him against Penn State to prepare him for Iowa, because I think Iowa's defense is one of, if not the best in the entire country, yet again, per usual.
Yeah. And one of the things that Iowa's going to do, Penn State does this well, but Iowa, they're going to allow you to throw the underneath, and they're going to trust themselves to rally to the football and, be able to make tackles. So one of the things that we're really going to have to work on is not just taking the underneath. I do think, like, over the course of this week, they're really going to have to work on trying to do some things that really kind of, again, because if we're sitting here living on the underneath, I think it'll work for a little while. But Iowa, again, they trust their ability to tackle. They trust their ability to get down, because they're really good with zone coverage. They're really good with tackling. They're top 5 almost every year in, like, yards allowed after catch. So they're going to give you, that flat, and they're going to allow you they're going to try to get down and tackle you before the stick. So I do think this week, again, I do think this is going to be a week where we're going to have the ability to be able to just stretch the field a little bit deep and try to show that we have that in our repertoire. Otherwise, I think they might, kind of feast on us. Their run fits, they're very gap sound with their run fits. Their linebackers are patient. They don't overcommit very well, and neither does Penn State. So I think it's a good. I think the way all of this lined up towards the end of the season, UCLA was a good little, I think, introduction for TJ Lateef to come in against a defense that wasn't very good, against a defense that, very bad against the run, and then you're going to come out with a defense that's a little bit more physical, but not quite as, I guess, technically solid as Iowa, and then that's going to set you up, but still a very physical defense like Iowa, and a defense with a lot of depth, a lot of physicality, and then that's going to set you up for a more, I guess, solidified defense like Iowa. But Iowa in recent years has given up more explosive plays than they had in the past. However, did a pretty good job against Oregon. Now, I don't know if weather really kind of played a factor in that game, because weather was a factor in that game.
Cold.
But if you look over the last season, Iowa was giving up more explosive plays than they have in the past. And so they are always a team that has been been able to rally to the football. So if Nebraska can come out and maybe stretch the field against Penn State, I think that lends us well against Iowa.
Well, they finally have improved their offense a little bit too. They're not a great offense by any means, but they are performing at a higher level than they have in recent years. They're getting
it helps 30 having a quarterback that can somewhat move.
Yeah, because he's not like someone to write home about as an actual passer. I mean, he's got 1,000 yards on the year at 64% completion, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So, like, he's not really a threat throwing the ball, but he's good enough where you kind of have to, you can't just expect him to just bomb it and just be a shitty QB. But their offense as a whole, I was looking through it. This is nothing great. This is better than what they've had, which, considering how good they were with how good their defense has been, now you've got a decent offense or somewhat competent offense that's getting you 30 points a game. That's getting you, let's see, rushing yards was, where was it? I just had it up. I'm sorry. Rushing yards, 4.5 yards per attempt. They're averaging 175 per game. That's controlling the clock. Their time of possession is like 33, 34 minutes a game. That's going to help your defense out a ton. So this to me is it's not a great offense, but it's much better, which is only helping them with their defense, because now they're not going 3 and out 8 times a game. They're maybe going 6 and out, or maybe they're going 9 and out, but it's helping them win that field position battle. And we know how good their special teams are. I mean, it's pretty rare, ironically, that they make a mistake, which they did against Oregon. But yeah, you have to respect Iowa. They know who they are and they stick to it, and that's what makes them so damn good.
Yeah. And again, one thing that Penn State is doing a little differently that they haven't done in years past is they are hesitating a little bit more, especially against the QB run. So that is something I think will give them problems. But yeah, when we go into Iowa, this will be a good week to kind of work some new things in. Give Emmett Johnson a little bit of rest for his legs here. Because boy, does he need it. Let me dive into some of the comments here. Are y'all part of the Dino gang? What's the Dino gang?
I don't know what that is.
Like
Dino Nuggets?
Dino? I love Dino Nuggets, if that's what you're talking about. Love Shepherds, but currently have a black lab. Only thing I don't like about Shepherds is what will be their downfall, them damn hips. I got an appointment coming up next week for my guy's hips. Yep. Hip dysplasia, man. Unfortunate part of owning these big bastards is they do get those bad hips. They start moving a little slower, man. It sucks. Hate to see that, man. Black Labs, great dogs though. Them dogs, I mean, they got the most fun-loving energy, bro. I had a couple of Black Labs growing up. I've got a Shepherd Yellow Dog mix, a Boxer Pit mix, and their daughter that is a mix of both of them. They're spayed now. I got a Shepherd and a Shepherd Husky mix. So I grew up with German Shepherds. I worked with some of the military working dog canines when I was in the military. So German Shepherds are just what I know. I love pits. I had a couple, about 3 or 4 pit bulls growing up as well. So it wasn't until I got out of the military I got my first Chihuahua. So now I got another one. I got my second Chihuahua. Yeah, again, I can't believe me and my wife went out for Mexican food and margaritas and ended up going to the Humane Society and getting a dog.
It's a lot of margaritas.
I only had 4, bro. Listen, it was, like I said, it was not enough, too many, but still not enough at the same time. Let's see. I'm on the No Stress Express this weekend with no game. Justin, Brian, you guys are great. Happy Veterans Day. Thank you, David. Happy Veterans Day to all of my fellow veterans out there. Iowa scares me too. Yeah, they scare us all. Not much Miho should have guessed you're a lab owner too. Iowa's for real dangerous. They do what they do. They are who you said they are, and we let them off the hook, so crown them. I love that. Yeah. Throwback. Lab guys like lab guys before they even know they're lab guys. It's funny because my wife wasn't even like a big dog person. Like she wasn't not like she didn't like dogs. She just never was a dog owner. And now, she's the one that's kind of in cahoots with me, convincing me to, I'm like, we go to the Humane Society, we can look, but we don't have to get anything. Because what we were doing was I had a dream that my dog was back. My dog that I lost in March, Lady, my little Chihuahua, she came back to life. And I had a few dreams that she came back to life. I told my wife about it. And we were looking at Chihuahuas on OfferUp and Craigslist. And they were like, for rescue. And we couldn't find a bunch. And people were just selling them for $3,000 or $4,000. So we're like, let's just stop by the Humane Society. We went in the Humane Society. They're like, yeah, we got one. We're like, we're looking just for a small, whatever small female dogs you got. They're like, we got one small female Chihuahua. We're like, oh, of course, it works out perfectly. You got one, and she had parvo, and apparently her past owners or whatever. There's a criminal investigation open. It was on top of that was some kind of hoarding situation. So as soon as she got in this house, she was happy to be here. And again, just my wife's been bringing her to work until she's done with shedding the parvo, which takes like 10 to 14 days. But so it's been a little bit of a headache, but we're surviving. Put my lab got his ass kicked today. Went to the store, come home, trash all over the floor. Oh, dude, that is the story of my life with my dogs. So I leave my trash can open, it's game over. That happens. Never mind. I let the kitty sleep inside the past few nights. She crashed out, mellowed really, really good. I just noticed that pile up under the chair. Go Navy. Yes, sir. Go Navy. However, we lost to Notre Dame pretty bad this week. So DJ's Dugout gave me a free lunch today. Got to shout them out. Got to eat there, folks. Great Sammy's. I haven't even had a chance, dude. I got off work, went straight.
No free shots.
30 minutes to, yeah, they don't sponsor us. Went straight to pick up this damn dog. Got back just in time to be able to schedule and start this show. So multiple locations. I went to one in Plattsmouth. Huge thank you. I appreciate you, Nick. Red Wine, didn't you say they live in Benson? Where's Benson? DJ's has 5 locations in Metro, then Elkhorn and Plattsmouth, vet owned.
Elkhorn's where I grew up.
Justin has Jackson Johnson as a screensaver. Sus. No, what it is I'm logged in through the Voice of College Football StreamYard. So like whatever, whenever I'm logged in, like we're all logged into the same StreamYard. And so like I feel like it just randomly pops whatever screensaver was the last person that was in StreamYard at the time up. And I haven't put my own in here. So
yeah, we've had a few different people pop up before.
Yeah, I've had like a USC logo. I've had the Iowa Hawkeye, the Storm guys in the past pop up there, which was unfortunate. Again, the other Dave, thank you so much, man. We cannot let this slide, brother. Thank you so much. Brian, you got to be mobile as a QB. Those days of Brady are over. Grew up in Keystone. Remember DJ Dugout in Benson. What did you say? Where's Benson?
I haven't been in Omaha since I was 15, but I believe it is north. Someone's gonna have to correct me in the chat. I think it's northeast of Omaha. I might be totally wrong. East.
Good to see you. Oh yeah, and by the way, we will give a shout out to my cousin's restaurants that are in Omaha Pitch. My cousin owns a couple restaurants out there called Pitch Pizzeria. It's not a pizza. It's like there's pizza and wine and stuff like that. So if y'all know about Pitch in Omaha, that's my cousin's restaurant. He owns it. There's actually a couple of them that he opened up out here as well. Good to see you, Rashawn. How's your lad's patience holding up? EJ's been kind of killing it. I did see Mekhi get that kickoff fumble a couple weeks ago, though. Kudos to him. He's going to get his time. Don't worry. It's only kid's a grinder. He's going to get his time. Yeah, he's got plenty. Sad to hear, never mind. Ain't been there in 13, 14 years. Iowa and Penn State match up well with our defense. Yes. Buddy's girlfriend ordered 5 tall venti macchiato. Not what Starbucks makes. Starbucks, I eat their sandwiches. That's about it. Does Penn State throw in the towel in their season after their close loss to Indiana, opts out, transfers portal? One came up as a Nebraska fan. We did beat them there in 2011 when they were down. Was there potentially? That is my thing that we will kind of see in this upcoming week. But so far, not a ton of that yet. So I felt like we would have started to see that, a little bit kind of following that Indiana game. But I think it's a matter of how, well that coach can rally them up and try to make them see that, like, hey, like if you want an opportunity to make more money, like here's your opportunity. Go out and play these games, and then, that's your chance. So it's a possibility, but regardless, I just think Penn State is so deep that they're going to be tough no matter what. The hipsters and music crowd are really easy and fun to drink with, but they don't consider they're talking to quite often. I don't know what that means. The mobile view is fun. Yeah, we have no idea what's going on with that. I kind of really don't know.
I pulled it down because it was annoying.
I don't know. I kind of don't know.
On the left side of my screen. I didn't know why, because I was seeing double.
It was, yeah. So if that's making everything weird, I'm sorry, because I have no idea. Like StreamYard just changes things up sometimes. And yeah. Admit it, Justin, you're a cheap drunk. I am. That is true. 10-3 is really doable, and win our bowl game would be huge for the program. At up 11-3 next season. Wow. Yeah. And you want to talk about some recruits coming in. Nebraska, by the way, I think I saw that we are top of the list for, what was it? Who was it? Oh my gosh. Because I plan on doing a video on it. So I wasn't going to talk about it on the stream, but I plan on doing a video. We're going to do a recruiting update video here before too long. So y'all stay tuned for that. 60 and Maple. Benson is Maple Street. Okay, got it. Love Pitch. Been to both of them. Let's go, Shane. Shane's a fan of Pitch. So we got one Pitch fan in here. You're more accurate. Never mind. Emmett has to get at least 200 yards a game. That I can agree with. Like
200 all-purpose, I'm assuming?
All-purpose, yeah.
I mean, that's a lot, though. I mean,
well, 150. I would say 150.
Yeah, if you can get 100 on the ground and 50 to 70 through the air, I think you're okay.
Yeah. I think if he can get 150, I think we're cooking, and I think that means the offense is flowing pretty well.
Think of it this way. So last week we had 54 snaps. I'm pulling up the calculator to get the exact calculation. We had 54 snaps. He had 31 touches. That means he saw the ball on 57% of all plays.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's actually incredible.
That's sustainable over the next 2 weeks?
No, I don't think so.
I think,
but Emmett will tell you. Emmett will tell you it's sustainable, but
I think you have to do it.
Yeah,
he's paving the way for 5-star running back recruits to look at us as a serious program. More he has, more we can compete. Higher they can go draft. True. Yeah. Every opportunity, like
Mr. Nelson.
Huh? Yeah, exactly. Because you want to talk about somebody who's, son who's looked at the biggest of the biggest schools, went and visited Michigan and stuff like that too. Yeah, that's one of the things they're going to look for. Are they willing to use me to my skill set? And not only that, you're going to get dual threat guys like Amir Brown, which looks a lot like Emmett Johnson.
Yeah, he's one. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I would say he's one where we're watching for a commitment soon too.
Yeah.
Who you look at the table, looks a lot like Emmett. And here's the thing. That's what the coaches are saying. And the week he visited was the USC game. Well, the Northwestern game too. Both those weeks, he absolutely went off.
Yes.
And then you follow that up with UCLA, goes off again.
Yep.
To me, it's pretty evident where he should be.
Yep. I live by pitch here in AZ. Awesome place, Justin. You appear on Generation of Red in 1 hour. I'm going to try to. As far as right now, as long as this dog doesn't start tearing into stuff again. This is my first time being like having, not to have to pay attention to this dog for an hour, and she's sleeping. So she's doing a good job so far. But again, we're still kind of venturing into her exploring everything in the house. So yeah. I'm gonna try to pop on there for sure. But pitch shout out to all the pitch fans, man. USC is a heavy favorite against Iowa. Who do you guys like in that matchup?
That's tough.
Dare I say Iowa? I'm gonna be rooting for USC.
Where's it being played at?
Huh?
Where's it being played at?
That's a good question. Let me see. Let me double check. I think it's at USC. Let me see. Yeah, at USC.
What time's the game?
1:30. Well, 1:30 my time.
Okay.
Yeah, so what is that? 2:30 your time?
Yeah, I'm going to take USC.
I'd be curious to know the spread on that. I'm going to be rooting for USC, but
USC -6.5.
Yeah, I'm going to be rooting for USC in that game. It does seem like a lot, but I think Iowa can give them fits, just with their ability to stay sound defensively. And I think Jaden Mayava has struggled with teams that are good at staying in position defensively.
I was going to say discipline, but that works too.
Yeah, doing their job. When you have the 1 of 11 doing their job in each position, it's hard. He relies a lot on, the misdirection. And I think Lincoln Riley's going to have to get really, really creative offensively to be able to beat them. So to me, that's a big spread. Unless Emmett gets his early, Buddha and Mosey can't get that many. Yeah. Yes. Emmett gets his early. Iowa, USC, please. Does that mean you think Iowa's going to win? You want Iowa to win? Rashawn, EJ, do we want Iowa to win? No.
Yes.
No. Do we though? We want it so we could play a ranked team. Potentially.
And what if our first ranked win in 50 attempts was Iowa on one of their best years in the last 15 years?
Yeah.
Nice.
Rashawn with EJ tearing it up, Mekhi have an open path to being the guy next year. I'm excited for him. He's definitely going to get his next year. That is for sure. Kid's a grinder, man. And you see every time he touches the ball, he runs hard. runs hard as all hell. Be hard to convince EJ to another year will put him in a better draft position. You see that little hit? Hey, she woke up. There she is. Hi, Rosie. Nebraska might be Penn State, but Iowa's going to Iowa them too. Please, guys, be honest.
Oh, I'm not picking Nebraska to beat Iowa, but it would be nice.
Oh, no. We're just kind of giving you what we think Nebraska needs to do well to win the game. We're giving you what we think we can do well and how Iowa's a tough matchup. Yeah, all that. We are definitely not making those predictions yet. We'll see Iowa versus USC, and then Nebraska versus Penn State before we get to that. At least Iowa's in Lincoln, hopefully night game. Brian just convinced me let Iowa win. Whatever happens. Whatever happens. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in. As always, we appreciate you. And the other Dave, man, again, we can't thank you enough. If I could thank you a million times, brother, I would. Again, I'm not. I don't do this. I don't do this for money. I don't do this for clicks, for views. Do this because we enjoy doing it. And we enjoy hanging out with y'all, man. So we appreciate everybody, and every little bit helps us out. And every like, every comment, we thank y'all, man. And we appreciate you. So y'all tune in on Friday. We'll be here for the Husker Gutter call-in show, and we'll potentially try to get a guest. I'm going to see if I can potentially I'm going to have a Penn State guy on next week, by the way, to help us, lead us into the Penn State game, give us a little bit of a synopsis on what they bring to the table. Might try to get a guest on for Friday's show as well. So y'all stay tuned for that. I'm working on that at the moment. I'm not going to say who just yet, but just in case he can't come on, but y'all be
Frost.
Yeah, it's definitely not Scott Frost. So y'all be ready to tune in Friday for the Husker Gutter call-in show. We will see y'all there. Brian, anything else before we head out?
No, we're good. We'll see y'all Friday.
All right. Thanks everybody again for tuning in. Happy Veterans Day to all of my veterans out there. And with that being said, we'll see you on the next video. Peace.